Hi, Capricorn. I was debating whether or not to do your reading anyway, and I am so sorry I didn't put out the second part for those of you who like to watch that. I simply slipped my mind. But I did Cancer second, so it kind of makes sense that maybe the force was just pulling us together a little bit sooner than I may had planned originally. A few cards already fell out, but before we get into that, all information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which definitely will be out, I promise, as this one comes out this time. And yeah, that everything can be found below, as well as my Instagram too, is where I put my offerings for now. A website will be up within the month or so. First cards out are the Page of Pentacles, the Five of Wands, the Six of Wands, and the Five of Cups. In true Gemini fashion, we're getting a lot of numerical synchronicities this month, and it kind of in stories like this where it's like in between, or right above and below. It's very mirroring. So this month I do just want to remind you, sorry about that. Okay. To say that you may need to speak and speaking up may shed some light on a situation at hand. For a lot of you, a lot of Capricorns like to process internally. Capricorn risings may also feel this as well. However, in true Gemini fashion, there's somewhat of a polarity that's meeting you. So if you're a Capricorn who tends to maybe hold on before they're ready to say something, your practice perhaps this month is to say before you maybe need to catch up to it. Say, for instance, there's a situation that there's just maybe a lot of hands, a lot of minds, or you're overthinking, or you're almost like what can become static or confusion in the mind is almost fear unaddressed, anxiety unaddressed, something that has more power over you. And a lot of times when you say it out loud or you give it air, Gemini season, it is then relieved. Because then we have the Six of Wands. So something really important to you, you may not deem it important for some reason enough to say out loud. However, it could just be in a way protection holding you back from something you may want to that you may have to feel, and the Five of Cups clarifies that. So the Six of Wands heading into the Five of Cups, this is you when you give some kind of voice to this, when you clarify a situation or take out something. So if you need to sit with it and take out your emotions, or you need to let your emotions speak for themselves and not let your mind overtake the situation, you confidently, you can easily move forward and you realize like, oh shit, what is that? Well, it's just pent up energy. You could just be really releasing at this time. And then the Five of Cups. Releasing often means, in the Six of Wands, is that maybe you say something that you can't take back. And there's maybe repercussion or consequence, or you do something that you can't take back, and there's consequences and repercussions to this. And you start to see them. You see it very clearly at that. However, what you've got still going is just that. If the situation called for you to be this way and yet you felt better, but then now looking back and seeing what happened, you may not feel as good. Something came over you. And for some of you, it even goes as deep as survivor's guilt even. However, or it's a grievance. Because I think what you know, there's a few of you that do this really well, but you know that once you make something and you say something out loud, when you make something real. So you're making something very real right now, and it's so real, in fact, and you're just like, Capricorn has a hard time making something real. Yeah, commitment. Like, you're making a commitment, a true commitment right now, and I think it's really important because you're grieving a part of you. Something whether it's singlehood, whether it's non-married life into married life, whether it's with a career, whether it's with, you choose to move in with someone, you make something really official, you make a career official, you make a part, something that is identity shifting to an extent. And as you move forward, something simultaneously pulls you back. And the cards are being very specific because I've been traveling for a minute, so, or even a couple. Clock it. Hold on, I'm actually just gonna lift this up slightly, and maybe then we'll get the cards, or actually bring it down slightly. Could be exactly where it was, and I'm sorry. Like, where are we going with this, right? Or, hey, for some of you, it's really clearing up some stuff. This movement is like making you realize, like, oh, this is what was holding me back from this. This is what's been keeping me here. And it looks like it was some emotional attachment, some things situations, skills, jobs, something you've put a lot of time and energy into. Time is your biggest thing. I'd like to say it's Virgos because you're both earth signs, but Saturn ruled Mercury too, but theirs is funny. But yours is more of like, father time. Like, it's on time, but you also are punctual. And maybe you're not so punctual right now with something. What it's wanting you to remember is that this change that's occurring, something surprising that's being added to your life, is revealing to you the kind of person that you are. You can do all the work. You can make it to the CEO level. You can be good or succeed in many areas of life. And you are a good person at nature. However, you do operate differently than most humans. We go through death of Scorpio into the how do we go and move from here? What brings us back to life? Through Sagittarius and the freedom in knowing something has been done or died. There's a sense of freedom from that thing or that part of you, or because you know that you can't go back, right? It's almost deathly. But it's through the death we get to Capricorn, and it is here. It's here you know that many options can happen, right? Before you give in to any attachment, before you do something irrational, if that is what you're thinking, Capricorn. Do not overindulge the mind right now. This is Gemini season. It just wants you to let things pass through like clouds in the sky, not overly attached to anything. Don't give into too much right now. If people approach you as if they have some way of persuading you to do something, take it for that. Don't try to think that they just blah, blah. No, take it for what it is, because right now you need to see yourself clearly. The High Priestess and the Lovers are both associated with Gemini. We have the 10 and the 10. 5 and 10. We have the multiples of each other as well. We have 2 6s out. And we have a 9. Spiral in, spiraling out, ending of cycles, rigidity. So the multiples of 2 is 5. The mirror of 2, I mean. You are gaining a really grand sense of perspective that you're able to connect, which is really important for you, this part. You're able to connect to it physically. It's like numbers. You see them, they are what they are, and then you use them in sentences and formulas and all things considering, and you know what you're talking about. So what you're being shown almost the mirror of, it's not so much of what you're willing to endure, it's just how you respond, again, going back to how you show who you are throughout these events. And you may need to allow yourself to be neutral with some things for a moment, because you're going to hear things that you're going to be revealed, certain things that you may not have thought you would needed to know or react. You didn't think you would react in a certain way, and you are. But it's because a new layer of you is showing. A new, dare I say, a new vulnerability, Capricorn, is revealing itself. You are, and it could be through love, through a person, another soul. This could also be through your intuition and how it's brought you here. And you may even feel like you're in this place where you feel as though like this person, anything could happen, but this is what I want. You know, this is what's important to me. This is something greater than the goals that I reach, than the money, how much money I can make, even though I still want to make a lot of money for this situation. You're realizing that the effort and the value isn't just in the monetary and what you can provide, because you provide a lot. In abundance, as a matter of fact, even a legacy for some of you, right? The true mentor knows that they are also always a student. And then maybe you're a student of love this month, and of intuition, and of having an open heart and an open mind and an openness to your energy that allows whatever needs to break down and break through. You know, whatever isn't adding up anymore, and things that you need to process with yourself, right? Pluto is out of your sign, but it's coming back just for the last round, I think, before heading towards the full-on movement of Pluto in Aquarius. After this forward movement shift with yourself, you may need some time to rest your nervous system. That may give you the true answer, right? The Page of Cups is creative and inspired and maybe persuasive, doesn't know he's being manipulative, unsure, and is unafraid to show the beautiful creative parts of himself. Sorry about this. Okay. And then we have, when you'll see it, we'll go over to the Queen. That's how I have it set up. And through the page to the Queen, no rash decisions need to be made, right? From, we'll say, Mercury and Venus and Taurus, as everything shifts into Gemini, and then towards the end of Gemini season as it shifts into Cancer, which we'll get more into the second part for sure, you'll find that you have more direction with what you're learning and understanding, because you may process certain things a little bit quicker than others, and this is something that is hitting you in a place where you are resolving some issues, some traumas, some experiences, and that's why it wants you to remember this. It's like Gemini season's like, we don't want you to forget this. We want you to take this into the memory-making water season that has direction. And how you feel and how you move through the season and how you gather information and how you respond to that information, how you move forward, move with this information. It's information that is flowing through you. When you realize you value more, you knew you did, but you didn't realize how much you valued a safe space and a person who you can share your ideas with, who you can share your dreams with, your goals, your fears, you can share the harshest part of yourselves with, right? You have a harshness to you, right? You need to be able to express all sides of yourself and not just the people-pleasing sides, right? Maybe it's breaking down that part of you, perhaps. And maybe you need more support and you find more support in that. Maybe this shows you what you experienced on an emotional, spiritual level growing up. It could be that. How that's related and almost dictated how you have come to be and how you now have the power because you're allowing that to change. It's almost like you get an answer that you've been looking for, and it could be through a person, but I do think this is through your own spending time with yourself or time with your significant other, and really spending time and their energy and conversating and maybe making art together, doing something spontaneous together. That can be very beneficial for the communication style to not, I think what sometimes overly experiences the traditional, but there can be play within the traditional. There can be your own rules within the traditional. Taurus and Capricorn know that best. So what is that play? What is that experience? What is that opening up? What is that part of you that in Gemini season becomes okay to feel and be seen for, especially with a person that you also see that with and you can accept that from? Because let's be honest, you do that. You're able to play into it, but this is bringing out a side of you that is so easy to connect with, that people may see things in you this month and the course of next month and be so attracted to you. Of course, it's important to enjoy that, but also be very discerning. It doesn't have to be anything harsh at all. It may feel harsh to the other person because they're like, damn, I can tell that motherfucker don't like me and they're so fucking cool and blah, blah, blah. But you're also being shown, Capricorn, where in your life like this has affected, where the rigidity has also affected even your health, maybe your psyche. Maybe you're realizing that the psyche and healing that part of yourself through maybe creativity, through this connection, this deeper yet higher connection, because it's kept you maybe from a part of yourself. It could even be, I think we talked about the ego death a little bit, but this could be even an ego death. And it sounds so like, ooh, but it's like you're moving through and seeing a different version of you through this experience. You know, through this experience of feeling and being present with that and being present with this person and with this time in your life. And you can give yourself the ability to be available for this. And only you can give it to yourself, truthfully. You know, it's okay to find a way. My kitty just wants to be near me. It's so funny. Come on. He's an Aquarius. Cusp. Hi, sweetie. You see him? Oh. He's huge. Like, he can't fit on the, I'm like, I have to get chairs that fit with him and do desks. Hi, sweet baby. Oh. The subconscious, right? How funny these inaccurate. We're gonna bring the cat into it. You may find that the sweetness in you, that side of you that is so easy to connect with, you may reveal that, you know, and that may make you feel even more empowered to take perhaps control in some areas in your life, commit to taking control in those areas, especially if you have, we'll get into this in the next part, addictive tendencies, codependencies in an emotional way, nostalgia that can be a form of depression, and how at first walking away from this can feel lonely, but really it's connecting you even more with exactly you've been looking for and wanting to connect with, and wondering why things aren't working or why this isn't, and all of a sudden things start to happen. And even just addressing it and being with this part of you, sorry, is what's connecting you even deeper, Capricorn. We'll get into that into the second part. And if you're deeply committing, a lot of times it does mean, like, what are you willing to let go of? And it looks like 8 of these 9 cups that we have out here already are just not worth it. Okay? We'll see you in the next part. I'm very excited to get into it. I feel like my face is like so close. Hope you like the new setup. I've been liking it so far, so good. I'm sure we'll have different versions of it. All information is below. We'll see you there.